Welcome to another day of Bhagavad Gita Sadhana, and I'm Atmadarshan or Laura, whatever you're most comfortable with. And actually, that's one of the themes for today. We're talking about challenges to Samatvam, to being able to be truly yourself in all situations. And as we head toward Shivratri, these challenges can become more and more striking. Yesterday, I was made aware of a nice challenge. So, when I was doing the meditation yesterday, I heard this like horrible vibrating noise from just two houses over. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, everybody's hearing that. And then when I went to talk to you at the end of the meditation, it stopped. And I thought, well, isn't that auspicious? And then as soon as I stopped talking and turned off the video and it started up again. And I thought, wow, that's somebody trying to give me a message. And won't that be cool when people hear that? And then I went back and listened to the video and the sound isn't on the video. So then you might think, what is she talking about? Is she going getting a little detached from reality? When in reality, what was happening is the filters on my computer related to the microphone were screening that sound out, and you couldn't perceive it. One of the biggest challenges to us knowing and accepting our true selves is our filters. We have filters that we were either born with or learned that greatly color how we perceive the world. In fact, we're talking about Lord Shiva and his various forms for this period of time. And today's dedication is to Vaduka Murthy, which I'll talk about more in a moment. And it is said that the reason the divine needs to have a form in the first place is because we're human. And we just can't connect fully to the abstract concepts that these deities, such as Shiva, if you care to perceive him as a deity, what he represents. And from a yogic point of view, these deities are actually parts of us. It's not about learning to worship a different outside form. It's about using these forms as they are presented to get past our filters and see ourselves for who we are. In our lives, we do relate to form more fully than the abstract. And Krishna addresses this with Arjun in chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita. Arjun says, is it better if I'm looking to connect with the divine, either inside or outside, to connect with it as something formless and abstract or as something that has a form? And Krishna replies, there is more pain for those whose minds are set on the unmanifest, because that goal is difficult for the embodied to achieve. Simply by having a human form, we're already filtering the world in certain ways. And for many of us, unable to perceive the reality behind those filters. The Bhagavad Gita is all about a systematic dismantling of those filters that keep us feeling like we are not in touch with each other, not in touch with the world, and most importantly, not in touch with ourselves and our own inner wisdom. Today, as you meditate, I'll invite you to contemplate your filters. Now, later on in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna presents the idea of three major filters through which we view the world. And one of them is through, we can liken them to glasses. One is through sunglasses, where the world looks like a dark, imposing, and scary place. You may know people who perceive it this way, or you may perceive it yourself. The other set is kind of rose-colored glasses. They're very, it's a filter that's very energizing and helps us perceive the world as something to kind of conquer. Like we make all these to-do lists and we're going to get things done, and the world presents obstacles that we get to overcome. And then the third filter is one that lets us see everything as goodness, light, divinity. Which of these three is better? This is a trick question because what Krishna says to Arjuna is actually they're all filters. And what we need to do ideally is take those glasses off, whether they let us see the world as dark, as something invigorating and exciting, or something that's perfect and balanced. We have to take all the glasses off and just perceive as everything is. Indeed, quite challenging. It's said that Lord Shiva has mastered this, and one of the mudras, Trisul mudra, Trisul mudra, each of the fingers represents one of these filters. And then we take them off through the use of this mudra. As you meditate, I do invite you to contemplate your filters. What's getting between you and the world? And this is where having a romantic partner or some kind of companion in life can help, because they're often challenging our filters, and we need to learn to accept some of their feedback and provide feedback of our own for them. Vaduka Murthy, whom I mentioned today's practice is dedicated toward, is another form of Shiva as a mendicant, as a beggar with his alms bowl. And we talked about the same kind of figure in yesterday's story, but with a totally different kind of background. That beggar, that mendicant, was teaching someone a lesson, whereas this form, Vaduka, is just Shiva being a beggar, just being. This can help us whenever we see somebody in our lives, whatever form they take, maybe as a beggar. What are our filters saying about that? Is it someone to teach us a lesson? Is it someone who's just being themselves? Is it something else? I encourage you to look at your filters today. Shall we? Beep. Let us switch sides. Time for our meditative practice. You can contemplate your filters if you wish with Trisul mudra. This represents Shiva's trident, by the way. See you in 5. Welcome back. So what happens when all our filters are removed? We'll talk about that in tomorrow's video. And speaking of things coming up, do remember, if you haven't signed up for our newsletter yet, there's a link that will take you to our website where you can do so, because there's going to be a very special event around this special event coming up, and I want you to be the first to know. All right? Can't wait to see you again. Until then.